At some point, I felt brave enough to actually try my hand at entrepreneurship. And that's when I made the jump over into being a founder and started my first startup in 2005, which was a telecommunications startup. It was kind of like, you may think of it as a precursor to WhatsApp and Telegram in an era where we didn't have smartphones.
Yeah.
We didn't have iPhones with apps on them. So these were the dumb feature phones, but we wanted to connect them with your social networks. And because we kind of saw these trends that people love to talk and text on their phones, people also love to spend time on social media. Back then it was Friendster, MySpace. But these
Hmm.
two were disjointed. So our,
Sure.
our aha moment was, hey, what if we bridge the two? And that startup had really great early successes, and ever since I've been an entrepreneur, been in the business world.
Yep. And now that was Jaxtr, right?
That was
That's the one you're
Jaxtr.
talking about. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That was it. That's an interesting story because you had some competitors around you. Remember, like, was it Grand Central got bought by Google? There were a few others,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Yeah,
in fact, the zeitgeist was that like 4 or 5 companies started in the same year around the
yeah,
same idea, which was voice over IP, kind of transporting voice and text messages over the IP network that was attached to the cellular network. So kind of bypassing a little bit the toll charges. You may remember that making a long distance call, and long distance, I'm not talking about international, within the
right.
US, a long distance call could empty your bank account.
Mhm.
And students couldn't call back home, college students, because
Yep,
of heavy toll charges.
yep,
Also, texting was really expensive. You would pay per message,
yep.
which is insane in today's world. So we wanted to kind of address that problem, make calling and texting as close to free as possible. That was like our grand vision.
Sure, sure.
And so, yeah, Grand Central, Jaja, Jangle, Ribbit, we all started in 2005.
Hmm.
Funny enough, the outcome of all those other players was radically different from ours.
Yeah,
And sadly for us, we didn't have a great outcome. So we all hit the 2008, 2009 recession,
yep, yep.
and which was very similar to today's recession,
Very
right?
similar.
So
Very
VCs
similar.
stopped investing, market crashed, all doom and gloom. Sequoia issued that memo, kind of, or the PDF document, PowerPoint presentation, kind of RIP Good Times was the
Yeah.
title of that one, right? And so we found ourselves in a situation where we were running out of cash fast,
Hmm.
and we hadn't really cracked the code on monetization. We were growing, growing, growing. We were a viral product. We raised a lot of venture money, and grabbing market share and growth was our predominant focus. So we didn't spend much time on kind of trying to convert users into paid users, even though they were very active users. They weren't paid users, and active users meant that we had costs that were virally growing too, because we still had infrastructure costs.
Hmm.
And we went from, like, let's say, 0 to 1 million users in the first month we launched the product.
Crazy.
We went to 10 million in the first year.
Yeah.
It was a pretty viral thing back then. These were real numbers, and so we had our pick of investors, and we had our dream list of investors actually backing us, which was
Yeah.
fantastic. But they all had big ambitions in terms of growth and market share. What happened was that really we were caught by surprise, as many startups were back then, as they were here last year. So we kind of had to figure out what to do. Now, one critical decision we had made, which we came to regret, was that we didn't really pursue any strategic partnerships, distribution partners, or
Hmm.
even court potential acquirers, because we
Yep.
thought that we had it made, right? We thought that we're growing, we're going to be a unicorn, although the term probably didn't apply, wasn't around back then. We
Right.
thought it would be $1 billion plus company, do an IPO. So we were drinking our own Kool-Aid. And so we sort of just put the blinders on and focused on executing.